Welcome to Arkansas Style. I am your host, Nicole Neiman. Thank you so much for joining us. We have an incredibly intriguing show for you, edge of your seat kind of stories. We'll chat with Dr. David Spiro. He's an emergency room pediatric doctor who started a podcast for first responders. It features some of their most emotional stories as an opportunity to share and heal from traumatic life and death situations. And Rachel Sims from Skin at Frank's will join us today. Have you considered medical grade skincare? Do you know the ins and outs of Botox, for example? We'll get the down and dirty of medical procedures. Seriously, you'll see me get a treatment. And speaking of feeling your best, professional Jazzercise instructor Heather Abed is back in the building today to show us a few more simple exercises to keep us limber, balanced, and feeling good. But before all of that, the story of Dracula was recently told through dance. Ballet Arkansas created a show full of dramatic costumes, lighting, choreography, and music. We spoke with Michael Fothergill, the artistic director. This story will entice you to catch a show this season. Ballet Arkansas is spectacular. Take a look.
I'm Michael Fothergill, Executive and Artistic Director with Ballet Arkansas.
Michael, how are you feeling today?
It's great to be back in the theater, and we are super excited about putting Dracula on in such a technologically advanced facility. As you can see behind me, we've got some multimedia projection which only increases the experience and heightens the Halloween vibe, but it's going to be an experience for sure for anyone who joins us.
So you came up through the traditional ranks. You were a ballet dancer yourself, and now you're on the other side. How does that feel?
Well, you miss performing for sure, but really the joy we get now is watching our company grow and provide the same sort of joy to the audience that we once did. So it's comfortable for me in the wings and watching the development of our artists and kind of cultivating the next generation.
Being part of an elite group, of being the top 100 ballet companies in the country, I mean, your standard and level of excellence must be very high.
Well, I think we have to remember we have a responsibility, because in every audience you have an individual that this is their first experience with ballet, and there's another individual where this is their last experience with ballet. So we've got to make sure that we leave a lasting impression, we cultivate the next audience, we inspire people to come together in celebration of the beauty of the world. So of course there are technical standards we have to maintain and artistic standards we have to always try to surpass. But most importantly, it's the connective tissue with the audience that we're always trying to build. And I think that's really kind of helped to elevate us to the level that we're now at.
What I appreciate with what you're doing with these multimedia experiences with the ballet is that you're really encompassing a whole new audience that maybe doesn't have an appreciation for a ballet because they think it's traditional or it's, you know what I mean. But this is a whole new experience.
Well, ballet should be fun, and I think there's no reason why it can't be all immersive. We started the Halloween-themed productions about 5 years ago, and they just took off. People love seeing things that catch them off guard. They like getting into the Halloween spirit. They love the technological capacity and capabilities that Charts has to offer. So you really are experiencing the best of cinema and storytelling and dance all in one. But it has a modern spin. There's a lot of modern elements, from the lighting to the choreography as well. So people kind of get a little bit of an understanding of the far expanse of what dance can be.
All right, this will be a tough question and an easy one at the same time. So you're going to perform Nutcracker, which is a holiday tradition, for sure. But do you have a favorite moment in that performance that you could share with people in describing it, maybe of somebody who's never seen the Nutcracker or they're going to see it for the 100th time, what you see it from your eyes?
I see there being two favorite moments and two favorite characters. The Drosselmeyer character, or the kooky uncle that's kind of a magician that leads the first act, is the one that brings the magic into the production. So you see children just light up in the audience when he first shows the Nutcracker doll to our Clara character. And then later in the ballet, when the Sugar Plum Fairy comes out, and you just see everything that embodies grace and elegance and beauty, it really is something that is the epitome of classical ballet. So I think there's some heartwarming experiences you see in the audience at both of those times, and those are my two favorite for sure.
You just lit up like that. I love it.
Nutcracker is one of my favorite ballets. They're really, a lot of dancers are so used to doing it year after year after year, so it kind of loses its luster. But my final performances with my Nutcracker experience were dancing Cavalier with my wife as Sugar Plum. So for us, it's just very sentimental.
Oh, do you love that story? Michael is such a neat guy. But stick around, we'll meet his wife, Catherine. More from Ballet Arkansas when we come back. You're watching Arkansas Style on KARK.
You're watching Arkansas Style on KARK.
Welcome back to Arkansas Style. Now, before the break, we spoke with Mike Fothergill. He's the artistic director for Ballet Arkansas. Now let's meet his wife, Catherine. Check it out. So I have the privilege to continue to uncover the world-class culture and arts that you have here in Arkansas. And I'm joined by Catherine Fothergill, who is the Associate Artistic Director of Ballet Arkansas. Catherine, thank you for joining us.
Oh, so glad you're here.
This is going to be an interview beyond interviews because we are here as you're rehearsing your latest performance of Dracula.
That is correct.
Tell us about this.
Oh my goodness, so we are so excited. This is the kickoff to Ballet Arkansas's 22-23 season. We are here on site at the Center for Humanities and Arts, which is one of our home theaters in Central Arkansas. But Ballet Arkansas is ranked among the top 100 ballet companies in America. So we are just so thrilled that we can bring world-class performances, education programs to the whole state of Arkansas. Of course, we're based here in Central Arkansas, but we were just on tour to Northwest Arkansas and kicked off this production for the season.
So not only are you world-class ballet company, but this performance is unique in that it is a multimedia production?
Multimedia.
What does that mean?
That is correct. So we've partnered with Cranford Co., who's actually our next door neighbor down on Main Street, to produce photo and video that will be projected on the backdrop behind the dancers while they're performing. So it's a truly immersive and cinematic experience. And here at Center for Humanities and Arts, there's 360 sound. You know, you hear the train station moving all the way around the theater while you experience beautiful ballet, technology. So many things are coming together to produce this performance.
This is not the only multimedia production that you've done, right?
Correct.
What other ones?
So we launched this partnership back in the 2017-18 season with Cranford Co., and we have produced Sleepy Hollow, The Great Gatsby last year, which had a little bit of a celebratory feel coming back out of more of our digital performance season. But it's been a wonderful collaboration to see what we can do with new integrated technology along with the performing arts.
All right, Catherine, you do traditional ballet performances as well. Tell me about that schedule.
That is correct. So we present the classics, such as the Nutcracker, with the Arkansas Symphony Orchestra at Robinson Center, which is one of the beloved holiday traditions here in Arkansas. We're also doing Sleeping Beauty this year. So each winter season around February, we do one of those classics, the story ballets that our classical audience really loves. But we're a 50-50 split between classical and contemporary. So moving into our spring season, we have Modern Masters, also with the Arkansas Symphony Orchestra, of modern works of American dance, as well as new visionary choreographers that are creating specifically on our 15 professional dancers.
Catherine, being a world-class ballet company, I assume it's very competitive for your dancers to participate, but you have some special ones this year, right?
We do. This year we have 8 new dancers that have joined us from all across the nation, and they were among a pool of over 1,000 1,000 applicants for those 8 positions. But in total, we have 15 professional dancers, 2 Arkansans, but they really build their lives here and invest in our communities. They're on a 30-week season, and we produce 5 to 6 main stage productions during the year, but we're also in the schools. We have K through 12 education programs, and we are doing all kinds of student matinee performances and getting out in our community through outreach as well.
And the ballet company travels throughout the state, is that true?
That is correct. Yes, just this past weekend we were up in Fayetteville performing our Dracula production, but each year we look for tours to bring the arts all through communities throughout Arkansas.
So do you have a personal favorite for this upcoming season as far as a ballet performance is concerned?
Oh, that is a really tough, that's a tricky question.
I know, it's like picking a favorite child, right?
I would say while we're in each production, it's my favorite because I really get lost in the production, and this one in particular, we were talking earlier, I've seen audience members jump out of their seats, whereas in Sleeping Beauty, you're gonna just have people get lost in that beautiful Tchaikovsky score, and the little younger dancers love to come and see the ballerinas on stage. So I really think that the season that we have is varied, and it provides something for everyone.
Catherine, thank you so much for hosting us here today, getting a behind-the-scenes look at your Dracula performance. It's been a real delight, and I hope at home we have enticed you into seeing the world-class art and culture that you have here, especially with Ballet Arkansas. A warm thank you to Michael and Catherine with Ballet Arkansas for taking a few minutes to talk to us. Dracula just wrapped up, but they have so many more shows coming up, like the Nutcracker. For a full list of upcoming performances from Ballet Arkansas, just go to their website, balletarkansas.org. So we go now from professional dancers to me, just trying to stay loose and limber. Our Jazzercise queen, Heather Abid, is here to get our blood pumping, so get your shoes on during this break and join us. Jazzercise is coming up, so get ready.
You're watching Arkansas Style on KARK.
Start it up.
Welcome back to Arkansas Style. It's time to work out the kinks. Our girl joining me is the girl with the good juju. It's Heather Abid. Hey, girlfriend.
Hi.
I'm going to take a quick break with my shoes,
Awesome.
Okay? And
Yes.
we are going to move on to, what are we doing today,
We're doing
girl?
balance exercises today.
Okay.
So balance is important because as we age, we start to lose mobility, we become at an increased risk for falls. And so we want to do balance exercises so that we can improve our mobility, reduce those risks of falls, and strengthen our core muscles. So our body has lots of different ways that it will accommodate for balance. They're called balance strategies, but we're going to focus on one particular today, and it's called an ankle strategy.
Okay, so I appreciate you bringing this topic to our attention. I don't feel like this is an age-specific problem, right?
It is not.
You need to start working on your balance at any age and get,
At any
sturdy,
So yeah, you just want to become more steady on your feet.
Okay.
And it just decreases as we age, but even as young as your 30s, your risk of falls goes up. So, and it just continues to increase from there. So we just want to make everything strong and reduce those risks of falls and just make our lives easier.
Okay, this is a shout out to my best girlfriend at home in Chicago, Tracy Kenny, who's the chief of the Broadview Fire Department, who is the clumsiest girl I know. Get on your feet, Tracy.
Do
you got
these
something to
exercises
learn.
with us.
Okay, I'm
so
ready.
the first thing we're going to do is just warm up your ankles a little bit. And this seems so simple. It's an ankle circle. I encourage everyone to do this every morning before you get out of bed.
Okay.
Sit on the side of your bed, rotate your ankles, because ankles, that is one of your body's main strategies for staying upright. So you want them to wake up before you stand on them. A lot of falls occur when people first get out of bed.
Huh.
So this is so simple to do.
Smart. Did
Yes.
you know that at home that your ankles help you
They're
with your
important.
balance?
So it's
Wow.
called an ankle strategy, and
Okay.
it's one of the main ways your body stays upright. So the
Okay.
first exercise we're gonna do, if you do yoga, this will look a little familiar, is a tree. So you're gonna pull toe to knee and stand, and if you need to hold the chair, you can do that. If you're at home, have a chair handy to catch yourself for balance. We don't wanna fall doing our balance exercises.
Okay.
And if that's too difficult, you can put, your toe on the floor.
Ah,
so we're gonna
moderate.
pull
Okay.
up, and then to add a little exercise for our hips, we're gonna rotate our leg in and out. And you ought to feel and see your ankle start to move. Do you feel how
No, I
your...
feel it in my hip, Heather.
Well, that's because you're exercising those muscles too, but let go and see what happens. If you let go, your ankle will say, oh, there it is, yeah.
All right, all right.
Oh my gosh, I
Oh,
love
there
you.
it is,
I
you're
love
right.
you so much, okay. So, very simple,
Okay.
good way to challenge your balance.
Wow, okay.
And by adding this in, you're adding some hip
Girl,
and
my
glute
foot is
muscle.
starting to spasm.
Okay, so we'll switch legs. Okay, so that's
Is
one.
that too much information
It's
at
a
home?
tree.
Okay, we're gonna
Okay,
do
the
it again.
next one is you're
Wait,
going to
I
put
feel
your...
unbalanced now that I haven't done the other side.
You can always,
Okay.
yes,
We'll
even
come
out.
back.
Always do it on both sides. That's a good point.
Okay.
Okay, so you're gonna stand feet under your hips, and you're just gonna lift your heels. Think you've got on your best Louboutins.
Oh, did you
And
see me tap dancing
How
yesterday?
high? Oh, no, I
Oh,
didn't. I recorded.
Lord.
I watched it.
It was a
Okay,
disaster.
heels up.
Uh-huh.
And then if you want to challenge that, you can add some overhead reaches. But do you
Wow.
feel
Yes, I can.
the ankles?
Yes, yes.
So that's another way to work
Okay.
on the balance strategy in our ankles by just holding. And you'll
Yeah.
notice that it gets more difficult the longer you do.
Right.
Try to hold for 20 seconds or so.
Okay.
And then if you add any overhead reach, that just even challenges the move even more.
Wow, that's fantastic. I
You
like
give a little leg
that.
work.
Okay, for sure. Yeah.
Okay, so then a third one that I like to do is you can just take one foot back, support all your weight in the front leg, and then if you want to put your arms out, or you can cross them, or just whatever's comfortable. This is the most difficult. And you're going to tip forward until your chest is parallel to the floor, lifting that back leg.
Oh, wow.
Now this is a very challenging, but you'll feel it not only in your ankle, but now we're pulling in some hip strategy.
Okay.
And so those hip muscles are helping to balance you too.
Ooh.
So we have a hip and an ankle. Those are two of our big balance strategies.
A hip
but
and
that's
an
a good
ankle.
exercise.
Okay. All right,
And
so if
so-
you're at home and this is a little bit more challenging, this is why we have
if
the
you're
chair,
at home,
right?
And yes, you can hold on to the chair, and then you can practice taking your hands off. But it's a
Okay.
great exercise. And if you say, Heather, I can't remember all these exercises,
Watch
something-
the show again.
record it. Something basic you can do is try to stand and put your shoes and socks on every morning without sitting.
Oh.
That will give you a lot of balance training.
Uh-huh.
So have something handy, but try that at home. That's just an easy thing that is a functional activity that you can do that will train your balance.
Okay.
Putting shoes and socks
This
on.
is a super silly question. Why do you not close your eyes? Doesn't that challenge your balance
Yes.
too?
So you want to make sure first, when you're doing any type of balance activity, that you can do it with your eyes open.
Okay.
And then once you get to where you feel like, wow, I'm really steady in that position, then you can close your eyes, and that will add a whole new dynamic to the balance activity.
Okay.
But if you do close your eyes, please have something handy that you can grab, because you can lose your balance very quickly when you take the vision away. But yes, that's a great way to challenge. Even just lifting your head up and going from looking straight ahead to looking up will challenge your balance.
Ooh, wait, do that again. That's interesting. Looking up, that's another modification.
That's another
to these.
modification that will
Okay.
just make it a little harder.
Lift
You
your
know,
hip
if you're
and
in,
lift your heel.
but I
Holy
like,
cow, okay.
I like the, the high heel. This is a great way just with your high heels on.
Okay.
This is a great thing to challenge balance. Plus you're working your legs. And if you do look up or you close your eyes, it'll be a little more intense.
So you talked about the ankles being the kind of the primary function of balance. Are there other ways that we can strengthen our ankles? Because it seems like such a fragile part of our body.
So, a great way, like I'm in sneakers today, but if you do this barefoot and let your feet grip the floor when you do this, it will actually work it in a totally different way, because you'll start pulling in all those little muscles in your feet
Oh.
that you don't really pull in if you do this in shoes.
Okay.
So if you do it barefoot, that will pull in a little more of those muscles in your feet to help strengthen just the overall foot and ankle joint to improve mobility and balance.
Does she have the best tips ever? I mean, really and
Hopefully
truly.
they're practical tips.
They are so
Yes.
practical, so doable. I don't care how old you are, where you're at in life right now. Everything that you've just shared with us is something all of us can do to help us in general with our balance. And you know, we had Dr. Way from UAMS here, and she is a big proponent of being sure that you maintain your balance as you age. So remind us one more time, go through the 3 exercises.
So the first is a tree.
Okay.
And then you can add that. And then your second one is heels up. And the lower you go and the higher the heel, the more challenging. You can add arms overhead. You can close your eyes, adjust your head movements, left, right, anything to change that. And the third is a T-stand with a kickstand. And you just lift and parallel to the floor, and you're pulling in a lot of glute, ab. All this strengthens your core, which contributes to improving balance.
Oh, and a hug's a good exercise too.
Hugs are good.
You're the best.
You're the best.
Being here. I appreciate it, really.
Thank you.
Everybody at home, she's your girl. So I'm going to take a quick break, but when we come back, you'll meet Dr. David Spiro, an emergency room pediatric doctor over at Children's Hospital. He started a podcast for first responders to tell their life and death stories. Stay tuned for more on Arkansas Style.
You're watching Arkansas Style on KARK.
Welcome back to Arkansas Style. I'd like to introduce you to Dr. David Spiro. He's an emergency room pediatric doctor over at Children's Hospital. Listen to his story of why he started a podcast for first responders to heal from their trauma in the field. The world of podcasting has absolutely exploded. People are really enjoying having their stories told to them over the audio waves. It's kind of like a bedtime story. Sometimes videos incorporated too, but what could be more interesting than a podcast hosted by an emergency room pediatric doctor? Well, that's where Dr. David Spiro comes in. He is just that. And he is a co-founder of a podcast and telling stories out of Children's Hospital of Arkansas. And he's here today to talk to us a little bit about getting into the podcasting field. This is a pet project of his and what sparked his passion to tell the stories. And maybe we're even going to hear a story from him. Dr. David.
Nicole, thank you so much. I'm honored to be here today to talk to you a little bit about this journey we've been on, and with my colleague, Dr. John Oden, and our amazing editor, Karen, who you hear from a little bit later. But this has been a passion project for me, and the genesis of it is around healthcare providers. There's so many heroes out there, and the work that we do every day in and out is difficult and challenging and filled with all sorts of stories. And healthcare providers don't have a place to tell that story. And everyone has a story to tell that has been meaningful to them, that has moved them in one way or the other. And we are giving healthcare providers through this podcast a place and a space to talk about that story and what is meaningful to them about that story. And I believe that it will be meaningful to everyone in the world, doctors, non-doctors, to hear what those stories are.
Yeah, I think we forget, you know, because you guys come in with the brave face and the education, right? And you do the hard work, but you're people too. And to have a platform to emote, to go through a catharsis of sorts, even to celebrate your victories, to have the ability to tell those stories in a way that's personal to you, I think really does, you know, bring it full circle for you.
It does. And we have had, we've taped already 4 episodes. We continue to bring on more guests. It is not fully published yet in the podcast world. We will be publishing it soon, but I can't wait to get this out to the world because the stories are dynamic. And in our first 2 episodes, Dr. Oden shared a story that he had to share about some of the experiences that he had. He himself is a children's physician who takes care of diabetes, and he has type 1 diabetes. And so he talks about how he was discriminated against in medical school and residency, and humiliated at times around the fact that he has type 1 diabetes. And that was such a meaningful story for him to tell, and I can't wait for that to be shared with the world. And then my story, which I'm happy to share with you today, is around a specific event that occurred at Arkansas Children's Hospital that really moved me in a way that has not moved me in a long time.
Again, doctors are people too, and they're dealing with life and death and healing and painful situations all together. To have a doctor actually connect with you personally on a level that he can relate to your pain, your suffering, your troubles, and your joys, of course. To have a story told through a podcast, I mean, I can understand why this is a passion project for you. So how did your story incorporate into your podcast passion?
Well, it was a story that really affected me, and I wrote an article about it. And it happened during one Christmas Eve a few years ago, where we were told that we were going to be getting 3 children who were shot. They were shopping for their mother for a Christmas present, and they were victims of a drive-by shooting. And when they came in, one child was having compressions placed because he did not have a heart rate, and the 2 others had bullet wounds in other places of their body. And so we were simultaneously working in 3 different rooms, and which is stressful. And within a few minutes, we realized the child that came in without a heart rate was not going to survive. And we had to declare that child dead. And the other 2 children we were able to save. But really, the story starts with the mother. The mother came into the emergency department, and she did not know that her children were this sick. And in fact, she did not know that her child one of her kids had died. And so I was actually, and this is part of our job in healthcare, is I need to meet someone for the first time ever and give them horrible news. Horrible news that no one should ever hear. Yeah, it's hard. I get emotional talking about it. And when I told the mother, I said, your 3 children are here and one of them passed away, she immediately became obviously upset. She cried. She jumped off of her chair. And I've done this enough to know to just wait and pay attention to what's going on. And after a few minutes, this mom sat up, sat next to me, and grabbed my hand and said, take me to see all 3 of my kids, Dr. Spiro.
Stay with us, part 2 of my conversation with Dr. Spiro when they come back. We're watching Arkansas Style on KARK.
You're watching Arkansas Style on KARK.
Welcome back. Now, before the break, we introduced you to Dr. David Spiro. He's an emergency room pediatric doctor over at Children's Hospital. His podcast shares his riveting stories of first responders' experiences facing life and death with patients and their families. Here's part 2 of our conversation.
And so the social worker and the chaplain and I walked over to the trauma bay where this child lay dead. And she uncovered the sheet and said my son had just received a scholarship to play college football. And she eulogized her child in front of the small group of people that were there. And of course I was very emotional at the time. And then she asked me to take her to see her other 2 children. One was in the operating room, the other was in the trauma bay. And that mother was and is my hero in the way that she came together as a mother to be authentic and express her emotions and be as real as possible and be strong for her other two children that made it.
Right, I mean, there's so many layers to the story. You know, when you're talking about this, you've got a family that their whole world gets turned upside down on Christmas Eve of all nights, where you're supposed to be with family and celebrating happy and safe.
Yeah.
And they end up falling into your arms.
Yeah.
And there's not much you can do beyond God's power, you know, that he grants you to save the two, and the third is lost, and how you, I'm sure, feel somewhat responsible in addition to white privilege and things like that. But as a doctor, we come to you and save us. Save us.
Yeah.
And there are certain things, certain times where you just can't do it.
It's true, and you know, in our podcast series, we've already had folks talk about things such as suicide and how we manage children who try to commit suicide and talk to them in the emergency department. We've had one physician talk about how she is working with homeless people and how she communicates with them in the emergency department when they're sick and doing various things. Healthcare providers like myself, we all have stories, and yet we don't have a place and a space to talk about them. And so what we're going to be bringing out that I'm unaware of to the podcast world is an ability for nurses, paramedics, doctors, administrators, all of us who are doing the work that are all heroes, because I consider my colleagues heroes, the nurses and the physicians on the front line, the paramedics. I am watching heroic events every single day that I work. And this podcast, which is called Healing Healthcare, is going to be about giving healthcare providers that space and place to heal and tell a story so people can really understand what we do.
So if you're a healthcare provider, a frontline, you know, first responder, and you have stories that you would like to share, how can they reach you, Dr. Spiro?
Well, they can just email me at my ACH and UAMS email, which is dmspiro@uams.edu.
Okay, and check out the screen. We're going to put that up there for you as well. Dr. Spiro, I sure hope you come back with some happy stories too.
I would love that. I'm sorry.
Because kids can be funny.
They can
Even
be.
in times of crisis.
They can be.
They can ground us. I've raised four
yes.
kids by myself, and I know
Yep, and-
sometimes they think, you know, the problems aren't that big, and we're white knuckling it through life.
Well, the last thing I'll share is that, you know, one of the things that I absolutely love to do is I still love to bring children popsicles and stickers. And sometimes that's the most important thing that I do in a visit. And I get joy every single day. I get to work with children and their families, and I get to see heroes in the families that we care for. And I'm honored to be here today on your show. So thank you very much for allowing me to tell my story.
And I know it goes both ways. I know parents feel, you know, the heroism from you, and vice versa. So thank you for what you do.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Check out his podcast. It sounds like it's going to be gripping. A heartfelt thank you to Dr. Spiro for taking a few minutes to talk with us. He continues to do great work helping others, and what a neat guy. Now, after the break, want to get down and dirty of medical grade skincare? Rachel Sims with Skin at Frank's Dermatology is here, and we're getting holiday ready. So stay with us. You're watching Arkansas Style on KARK.
You're watching Arkansas Style on KARK.
Well, welcome back. Everyone wants to look good and feel younger, and there's really no better place than to start with your eyes and your smile. Sarah Meyer and Rachel Sims with Skin at Frank's Dermatology is here today to help me do just that. And of course, I have Heather Abed here as my emotional support because girls, we're going to get the down and dirty of skin. Medical grade skincare. Okay, so where do you want to begin? Do you want to start talking about products first?
Yeah, we can for sure. You know, holidays are coming up, so there's several simple ways to get holiday ready, and the simplest is to start with skincare. Medical grade skincare is a little different because the active ingredients are higher than anything you can find over the counter, so you're gonna see better results.
Okay, so just quickly, at home, understand that you may be able to get some of the ingredients in these products at the drugstore, but you cannot get the medical grade or the results that you can unless you go and visit, you know, Rachel or a doctor at Frank's. Okay.
Yes,
sorry.
correct.
Didn't mean to interrupt you.
No.
I wanted to highlight that.
Yeah,
okay.
no, it's really important because a lot of people don't know that. They just see hyaluronic acid or retinol, and they don't realize that the percentage is so small in some of those that you're not really getting the benefits that that you could get if you were buying a medical grade product.
Okay. So what are some of the ingredients in these products that we would want to take a look at?
Yeah. So one of my very favorite products is the Lux Serum. So it is a vitamin C serum, but it also has hyaluronic acid in it.
Hyaluronic acid, okay.
Vitamin C, then it has vitamin E, B5, and some other antioxidants. So it's going to help with pigment, help brighten your skin. It's going to hydrate because that hyaluronic acid pulls water to the surface of your skin, kind of giving you that instant plump and glow. But then you have all the antioxidants that are going to protect against environmental damage, make your sunscreen work better. You know, there's also a retinol over there. Retinol increases skin cell turnover. So
that's the ticket.
Yeah, this is the ticket.
Yeah, this is
okay,
the ticket.
ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's going to help with fine lines, pigment, all that. But really, retinol, if you're going to use one anti-aging product, usually I recommend a retinol product to start with.
Okay, and these are all medical grade, available at Frank's. With a doctor, with your care.
Yes,
okay.
yeah.
Let's move to this Restylane because we'll come back to the Botox.
Yeah.
What is this product?
Yeah, so the Restylane and the Juvederm, those are dermal fillers. So they are made of hyaluronic acid, which our bodies naturally produce. So it's not anything foreign going in, but they help add volume. So you can add to the cheeks to kind of lift and pull everything back. You can do the jawline to give you more definition. We do it in the chin, the lips.
Okay. So Restylane and Juvederm are fillers.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Injectable.
Injectable, yes.
Only through a doctor or specialist care at Frank's
Absolutely.
Dermatology. We're going to do Botox today, though, which is different than a filler, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's get, Heather, you ready? Hold my hand. Whoa. Okay, why am I getting Botox today? I mean, not that, of course, the obvious, I want to look great. But what is Botox going to do for me? Get over here. I'm scared.
Hold her hand.
So you don't have to be scared at home. You just bring Heather with you everywhere you go.
Yeah.
Why do I need this?
So it is a toxin that's going to relax the lines you have, but the other important thing is that it's going to prevent them from getting deeper.
Okay, so point out to the audience the lines that we're going to take care of. We took a before picture. Botox does not work immediately. How much time does it take to work?
Start kicking in, yeah. It takes about 5 days to start kicking in, fully set in at 2 weeks, and then it lasts for about 3 to 4 months.
Okay, so in 2 weeks I'll take another picture. Now point out, Rachel, what the problem area is. You know, I have no ego.
So we're mainly going to be working on these little lines. A lot of people call them the 11s. Yep, see, kind of 11s right there.
Okay.
And those little lines, just because the more you do that, just the deeper it's going to get. Way easier to prevent than correct.
You're expressive.
Yes, yeah, you're
expressive
expressive.
line.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
yes.
So friends, if you do that a lot, you know,
Yeah.
you'll see that you have that.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I also have a kind of a deep line here. Does Botox fix that, or do I need a filler for that?
No, that's Botox.
Okay, all right,
That's
friends.
a good question, though.
That is a
Okay,
good
a lot of people
question.
don't know the difference.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
they don't. Yeah.
Okay, ready? Okay. Oh, Rachel, this is so fun. I know, I'm so dramatic, but actually I am really having a lot of
Frown for
fun.
me and relax.
Well, I don't feel a thing.
No, it's really simple and quick. A lot of people expect it to be a long appointment. We like to call these like our lunch break appointments. You can come in. I mean, it's usually under the injection part itself is, I mean, not even a minute, really depending on the areas that you're getting done.
Seriously, high heels hurt worse than this. And this is, how long does it last once it kicks in the 2 weeks?
About 3 to 4 months.
About 3 to 4 months. You know, again, just generally everybody's different. Depends on how expressive you are.
Do you have to worry about bruising?
Now, that's gonna just kind of depend. Again, everybody's a little bit different. You can expect some bruising, but typically you're not gonna bruise.
Yeah,
Girls,
this
I
is
got
very
somewhere to go
light.
after this.
No, yeah, you're
typically
totally
not
fine.
gonna
It's not
bruise.
gonna bruise.
Occasionally, but if you do, it's like a little tiny dot.
Yeah.
Okay, raise your eyebrows and relax. So this is just knocking out those lines across your forehead. Raise, relax. And there's several different places you can inject Botox. You know, it's not just here.
This is the most common area people tend to start out with, but Rachel can kind of go over the areas that you can get Botox. I mean,
And this is where your level of expertise is that you know where you need to put this to take care of these problems.
Yes, yeah, because we're going straight into those muscles. Really, no downtime.
See, that was it.
That was
Look
it.
how quick that
Super
was.
quick and easy. You know, just no heavy exercise the rest of the day, and don't lay down flat for 3 hours.
Don't lay down flat for 3 hours.
Yeah, no
Okay.
heavy exercise, and then it'll slowly just start kicking in. You can put makeup on, wash your face like normal, skincare like normal. But yeah, this is the most common areas. Crow's feet, like around the eye.
see, that was perfect.
Do you still have a hand? Did I squeeze it off?
Did it hurt?
No, it did not hurt at all.
Okay,
I'm
good.
just highly dramatic for absolutely no reason.
No.
And you girls just made it so simple and not scary.
Good.
And totally painless.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't wait to see what's going to happen.
That's
Yes.
correct.
Yeah,
yes.
I can't wait to see your results.
Okay, so we did the Botox up here. We talked earlier a little bit about what can you do for your jawline. What are some options for that area?
Yeah, so a couple different options. You can do, we can Botox or do Dysport along the jawline. We do it right above the jawline and right below. And that kind of just lifts the jawline a little bit. Not always a solution for everyone. If you have a lot of looser skin, then you're gonna need something more like filler to kind of, you know, define the jawline a little bit more. Sometimes you even put filler in the cheeks because everything, when you lose volume here in the cheeks, everything falls, you know, making everything else lower. And then PDO threads are another option for the jawline.
Okay. So we can check a lot of this out on your website, but what I really want to emphasize for you at home, I mean, I know I can get a little silly and what have you, but you come highly recommended. And when you are looking for a caregiver that's going to take care of your face, the thing that you put forward every single day, you want to be sure that you've got a trusted professional with quality grade products that are going to take care of your well-being and your pretty face, right?
Yes, that's the key.
Yes.
Well, girls, thank you so much for being here.
Thank
Rachel,
you.
Sarah, Heather,
Thank
thanks
you.
for being my emotional
Thank
support.
you.
For you at home, if you decide to get this done, I'd love to see your before and after too, if you're not too shy to share. If not, just enjoy your holidays with your fresh new look. So stay with us. You're watching Arkansas Style on KARK. You're watching Arkansas Style on KARK. Thank you so much for joining us today. I promised you it was going to be a riveting show. I hope I didn't disappoint. Don't forget to follow us on social media and share with us what gives Arkansas its style. As always, thank you to our guests who joined us in studio today. I will, of course, keep y'all posted on my Botox journey. We'll see you again all tomorrow with love. Mwah.
Thank you for watching Arkansas Style with Nicole Neiman, sponsored in part by Vantage Health Plan. Furniture provided by Hank's Fine Furniture.